You were named after Nelson Mandela, so I imagine change is something that is incredibly important to you. How are you going to change something, specifically the representation of women in technology, that so far seemed impossible to change?
Wow, the million-dollar question. Well, thank you so much, first of all, Emily, for having me here. I am beyond honored to be in conversation with you. And just like you said, my origination is in an interracial marriage of two civil rights attorneys who were part of grassroots movements like the apartheid movement, the anti-apartheid movement. And you can just imagine the conversations around the dinner table that we had. But empathy, inclusion, diversity, justice, seeing people, valuing people is a core part of my DNA. And I definitely will bring that to the work at All Raise, where we support the success, like you mentioned, of women and non-binary leaders in tech. And I think the thing that I'm really going to add to it is my long history in community development. We support funders, founders, operators, LPs, angel investors. When you think about all the prongs of the tech ecosystem, they are within the All Race community. We are 22,000 strong. And I think that going forward, if we have a more unified approach to how we are going to create seismic change, then I think that we'll start having different outcomes.
Allraise was founded by power women investors who come from competing firms but all want the same thing: more women writing checks, more women getting funded. What have they told you that they want you to do differently in this next phase of Allraise?
Yeah, well, there's a big focus on the founders. So the founders are the entrepreneurs, and they're really the linchpin of this entire ecosystem. And one of the stats that's I know you know very well and that you report on a lot is this 2% number, this 2% of funding that is going to women founders. And I want to clarify for everyone that it's a little bit deeper than that. It's actually 17% of venture capital in 2021 went to female founders. But if you break that down, 15% of the 17% went to mixed gender teams, whereas 2% went to female founded only teams, right? So we are seeing an uptick in the capital flowing to female founders, but whether or not they have a male co-founder, right, that's something to dig further deep into. But this question around why 2%, why does it keep staying here? I really want to ask a different question, which is who is owning this capital that is making the decision not to deploy more capital to female founders, right? If we continue to give the same types of people the same opportunity to take a swing at bat, of course they're going to have a higher probability of hitting a home run. Part of the
Right.
issue is giving women and non-binary leaders a swing at bat so we can get our capital, our mentorship, all hands on tech, access to the portfolio founders, access to all that comes along with the capital to really have it be a strong arm in our business to get different outcomes.
And spinning those numbers a slightly different way, that means more than 80% of venture capital is going to all male teams, right?
Yes,
You,
say
you,
that
you were one
again,
of
Emily.
the you were one of the first Black women to be raising money in Silicon Valley, and I'm curious how that personal experience is going to inform the work that you do.
Yeah, one of our board members, Jess Lee, who was the first female partner at Sequoia Capital, one thing that she brings up oftentimes in our conversations, and even with our All Race community this morning, is this notion of me being an insider, but having empathy and a deep understanding of being an outsider, right? Just like you mentioned, this is back in 2011, before, Jesse Jackson was in Silicon Valley knocking on the doors of all the tech companies, demanding for them to release their diversity numbers. Before this really became a mainstream topic, I was a Black woman from, at the time, living in Los Angeles, who has a background as a teacher, trying to break into this world. I had many things stacked against me, right? My pedigree, my identity, my lack of insider knowledge. And so I have a deep understanding of what it's like to break in as an outsider, and also what it is like to transition from a founder, a two-time founder, a two-time operator, an investor, an LP, all of these hats I've worn in my now 11-year career out here. And so
Right.
that is part of the magic of what I'm bringing to All Raise, of just understanding the nuances of this ecosystem.